Welcome back to another episode of A Warrior Spirit, where the inner warrior shines in their light. Today, I have the pleasure of Kandy Windom. Kandy is the founder of KW Coaching. She's also the founder of Lead 100 Mastermind. Kandy has been in some of the same circles that I've been in, and I've watched her uh, grow and blossom. And over the past few months, I've really come to respect who she is as a coach and as a person who loves life. So, Kandy, thank you for joining me today and welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Deborah. I appreciate it. What an introduction.
I only try to be honest. You have an amazing story, and your journey has been kind of what this platform's been built on. So I appreciate that. Where did you grow up? Where's your beginnings?
Well, actually, I'm from Cali, Colombia, and I moved from Colombia to the United States 23 years ago.
So you're sort of a native, but not.
Yeah, right now
um,
we have a half.
yeah, half and half. Did you move directly to Florida, or where'd you come to when you came from
Well,
Colombia?
actually, I met my husband in Colombia. He was in the Marines, and we immediately moved to California, closer to Cambodia. But I'm not that
So
mhm, in California.
when you were in Colombia, what was it like growing up in your region?
Colombia was hard. It was a really hard. I can tell you that if you want to know a woman that knows what is going to school with not lunch, not breakfast, not food in the stomach, that was me. You want to know somebody who really grew up in a third country where it was literally like closed for like twice a year, that was me. That's literally how I grew up.
So fairly poor. How did you manage to stay out of trouble? Because in just in poor neighborhoods, you either are working to get out of it or you're working to stay in trouble in it. So,
Well, something that and this is something that it comes to me, it's been since to date, is that I love learning. So school was always been my first choice. And even though that in Colombia you had to pay to go to elementary school, middle school, and high school, I didn't pay nothing because I always got a scholarship, a grant just to go. And that was something that I was proud because I've always been the top of the class. So that was just something that is, I would say that it was making a difference.
so you worked your way out of it through your hard effort. And did you have friends and family around you who helped guide you, or were they kind of friends and family that didn't quite make it?
That's funny, but I'm not that type of person to have too many friends. I literally, the person that I was well, he's still alive. He was my grandfather. He was always my guidance for everything I was doing. He'd say, Candy, you gotta do this. Candy, you got. So he was pretty much my guide until he died a few years ago. Mhm.
Well, he guided you in the right direction for sure. Um, just curious, how does a girl from Colombia meet a Marine and fall in love? Well, I actually know the story. It was a little quicker than that. So let's start with how'd you meet your husband, the Marine?
So this is funny. I got invited to a single party in Colombia, and the invitation came to my sister's name. But my mom was like, "You need to go. You need to go." So I actually got the ticket. I went to the party on my sister's name, and that's where I met my husband before the party ended. He actually was like, "Oh, I want to talk to Candy. I want to get to know her." That was on Friday, and on Sunday morning at the airport, he asked me to get married.
That's quite the party.
Yeah, so
And you said yes.
yes, we got engaged, and 3 months later, he came back to Colombia. We got married in 2001.
So who 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 says yes after one date, and who says yes after such a short whirlwind? Like, what prompted you to? What was it about the situation? Because look, the reality is you're a really pretty girl, you're outgoing, you're funny, you're bubbly. Lots of guys are interested in that type of person. What was outstanding about this person that made you say yes to such a crazy notion?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I don't think I have never shared that in social media. So guys, this is brand new information. So basically I had two babies at the time. I had my daughter Natalia that she was 5 and my son was 1 year old. And we met on Saturday to have breakfast, and he was all about my kids. He just completely like the father that I was looking for. And when I saw him, I thought, oh my God, this is the guy, because most of the guys, they love the woman, but they don't love their kids. But he actually was more interested in my kids than myself.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I actually raised three kids that were not biologically mine. So I totally understand, when you're involved with a woman, it's an entire package. And if you don't like the entire package, don't just unwrap the bow. You know what I mean? So
Yes,
it's admirable that he fell for your kids as well as falling for you. How long have you been married now?
23 years.
So whatever was in that Kool-Aid at the party, you want to bottle it and pass it out to others because that's a it's an awesome journey and an awesome story. So as a Marine, I know he was probably stationed in multiple places. What was it like when you had to move from your country the first time?
Wow, at first I was super excited, but I didn't know what I was getting into it because to me, the word military and Marine was completely new. It was not in my vocabulary and it was not my normal life. So when I got in California, the first thing that I heard from him was that, oh, I'm gonna get deployed. I thought, oh, what? So literally he told me to start like growing, like Candy, you gotta speak English, you gotta drive, you gotta be independent. And every time that he was overseas, he was like, "Can they remember? I might not come back. Just wanted you to know." So he always put in my seed that I have to grow and develop myself, and that's what it gets me where I am right now because I have to just. He was like, "Candy, if you something happened to me, remember you will not have the same life if you are not be successful." So I just want to say that I thank him for the the encouragement and it's not like oh for me, it's actually go and do it. So big supporter. Mhm.
Well, did you speak as fluent English in Colombia as you do currently?
No, he didn't. He didn't know Spanish, and I didn't know English. So, so literally, we were like communicating. I don't know if you remember those little calculators that you can just type the name on Spanish and English and translate it. That's how we communicated that time. It was not Google. It was not voice. It was.
Wow.
So that's how we connect and we communicate. Mhm.
Love it. First communication. Play charades. That's really awesome. So how long did it take you to learn English?
It actually took me probably, I would say the first 2 years is when I start like speaking a little bit more confident. But I literally, when I got my master's degree in human resources, and my advisor told me that my speaking was so bad and my English was really bad that I will never be successful. That is when I actually start like recording my voice and start speaking more with people. So I literally removed myself from the Hispanic community. I just involved just only with Americans, with people who only speak English or different language, because I just wanted to grow and develop my way of speaking. So
And
it was a
did
challenge.
he did he learn Spanish?
No, he's still not now in it.
It's funny because my wife is Portuguese and she was born in Portugal in the Azores and then grew up in Boston and she learned English from like American TV cartoons and things like that. Um,
Nice.
but she's very fluent in all those languages and I still barely know Portuguese. So she gets frustrated. She's like, take time to learn my language.
Yes, I wish, but sometimes it's good because when I get upset, just tell me, but I trust that you understand this, and maybe you have gone through this. but when I
Yeah.
get upset, the Spanish comes out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know when she's upset because she'll switch into Portuguese, and I know that she's saying stuff that she doesn't want to really have me hear, but yes, I totally get it. Uh, so I'm curious, you fell in love with this guy because he was good at, technology and could communicate it on a hand device that he was into you.
Yeah.
His actions showed that he cared about your family. Um, but marrying somebody and then so my daughter was in the Navy. I have family who are in the military. I know what long-term deployment does on a family left behind. Um, how how was that communicated to you that there's going to be long periods of time where we're not together? Did he mention that before you guys agreed to get married, or that was just a shock to you?
Yeah, that was a shock to me. But since I always been an independent woman. So basically, for me, that he was living and living myself, I was like recognizing, and I knew this for myself, for my heart, that he was doing something good for the country anyway. So I had to support him unconditionally. So the first thing is listen to his word. It was like, Candy, just continue studying, continue doing what I'm doing. And I just focus on school. I just focus on school, raising my kids, being at home. And that's all I was doing, not doing what other people were doing when their husband was deployed, like partying and maybe cheating, having an affair. I was just literally put my head in the books.
Wow. And so it's because of his deployment you got your master's?
Well, basically, I didn't get my master's just because of his deployment. I got my master's, and I actually have a doctor right now. But
Yes.
I got my master's right now is because it was I got a grant and a scholarship that they were paying me like almost $20,000 for my master's. So I was out. Okay, I'm not gonna say no for education. I'm not gonna say no to money. Come on, let me use this scholarship. It was not planned. Literally, when my plan came to a part of education, it was like literally just get my associate, get to work, make some money. But God just got the ways that you don't have no idea. And all the
Mhm.
jobs that I applied never get a job. So I was like, okay, let's go back to school. Let's go back to school. Let's learning more and learning more until I feel like, okay, now I got a master's degree. Now I have to make a living, right? And that's when I started my HR career, my HR professional career. And I work for the Homeland Security. I work for the state of Florida. I work for the country, for the community, here in Florida too, in big corporations like Nielsen, GE, you name it. I have been in many, many companies that I was HR supporting. Mhm.
I used to work at the local college here and I used to help people get their doctorate degree. So I know people with a doctorate, what it takes to earn that. And I'm sitting here, and it's part of why I wanted to speak with you because I'm fascinated. The girl from the streets who couldn't buy food or lunch is now a doctor and has worked for major corporations, Homeland Security. Like you literally are living the American dream, but it wasn't all handed to you through scholarships. You created these efforts and these opportunities by your own hard work and your own desire to be better. So was that part of what your grandfather helped instill in you, or was that just a mechanism of survival from Colombia?
No, that's basically my grandfather always told me that I was meant to do some great things and to change the world, but he didn't tell me how. He just continued to do it. Don't be afraid, just do it. You're for this country. Just continue doing. That was always his words. And he was like, can they just do it? Don't work too hard. It's work smart, right? So yes, to get a doctor degree is super hard, but I took my time. I was not rushing it. I took my pace and doing as it goes, and when it comes, it comes. So it's like you believe it will come anyway, but you just don't know when, right? That's
Mhm.
basically my mentality. And I can tell you that for somebody who didn't have no money at all to have everything right now, the one thing that I changed is it was my gratitude of everything. You know, I live in gratitude 24/7.
So as and having again seen people who've gone through this process of becoming a doctor and understanding, what it took to get my own master's, I understand the higher education and the dedication it takes to, because now you're writing two theses, one in your master's and then your dissertation in your doctorate, and that takes away from family life. And if you don't have your partner there who's deployed all the time, how are you managing two kids, supporting your guys, self with work? Because I don't know if you were just a stay-at-home mom or not, but how did you handle juggling both of those for someone who's fresh off the boat, really?
That's what I call it, the power of focus. Honestly, because if Brian's sitting right now and you ask him this question, I will say, I don't know what happened. It's like you being in this incredible, beautiful energy from God that you just focus on one thing. Just put your head on down and you don't think about anything else. Yes, I had to say no to dancing because I love dancing. I love going to a club. I love to have fun. And I had to say no to those things. I had to say no to my family's reunions and parties. I had to say no to so many things, but I have to say yes to the opportunity to grow myself and do what I wanted to do, and especially build the business I have. So that's what I feel like when you are focusing on one thing every day, you get it done.
Yeah, I totally believe that because I use this example with some of my clients, and I'm sure you can kind of relate to this. But we would all agree that the energy of the sun is very warming, right? But it warms over a great area. But if you take a magnifying glass and laser focus that same exact sun, now you can start fire and you can burn things because now you're laser focused. So it's not the vast amount of the energy, it's that focused energy and how you apply that. So how did your kids handle transition from Colombia to the United States and then to where you are now?
Oh my God, how the transition? Well, they were so little. Literally, it was easy for me. And I have a third son that we have together, and they grew up in competition. So how actually to be able to integrate my schooling and my focus on, I was like, okay, guys, so who has homework this week? Oh, I have this and that. We just making a list, and I have my name too with my homework. I was like, okay, so whoever wins this week is gonna pick the restaurant, is gonna pick the dessert, is gonna pick the fan, or some activity that we're gonna do this weekend. So we're just gonna compete. And they were studying, I was studying, we all in competition, and whoever get the highest degree, highest grade, actually choose their nice restaurant, or let's go mom and let's go to the beach, or let's go bowling. So they pick the activity. So that's how they grew up, and even till today they're still doing it. Even though they don't live in my house anymore, and I empty nested because they all move out already. But that's how I was able to integrate my schooling, so it doesn't feel like I was being away of my family, being away from everything I was doing. I was with them
Yeah,
while I was learning.
nice. And you got your master's in HR. What did your doctorate
Education.
in communication?
Education, no education.
Oh, education. Okay.
Yes.
And so how do you take, well, HR is vastly different than education, and education sort of plays into what you're doing today, just an adult version. How did you decide that I'm going to become a coach?
How am I gonna become a coach? Oh my God, that story. I can tell you that I was working for a career source here in Tampa Bay. I was there in the office when I received a phone call from my daughter that my son was missed 2 days at school. And I was like, what? How did I didn't notice? Because I was working, I was at school. doing so many things that I completely forgot what my kids were doing. So I asked my manager, I said, hey, I gotta go home. I have an emergency. My son didn't go to school for 2 days, and he's posting this in social media that he's gonna kill himself. I gotta go home. And they said, this guy said, oh, but you gotta complete your timesheet. I literally was said, it's like, just get your timesheet, have a fun with that, and leave in. I see you. And I
Hmm.
just left work that day, and I never come back. I drove home for like 45 minutes. It took me, I feel like I was driving for 2 or 3 hours. It was taking so long until I get home. And I saw my son, and I was like, Candy, you gotta find a way to be home and do something. You got to do something. You have to do something. So the first thing that I did is I'm part of this Tony Robbins, and I went to Tony Robbins event, UPW, and I took my son there because, he always talk about the breakthrough of people that are going through suicidal thoughts and things like that. So I was like, oh, I got to take my son there. And I took my son there to UPW for the first time ever. We paid the best ticket in front of the stage. My son was having so much fun. It was day one, and he was like meeting a lot of multimillionaires there. But I was like crying. And I was looking on him and looking at everybody, but like, I can do this. I want to do this. So I started crying. I feel like, no, I gotta find out a way. That's when the spark came. And I said,
I've been to Tony Robbins, and he is very impactful and very powerful. And I don't know how you're not in the room and feel moved to do something. And I realized you were taking, your son there to help save him, but in essence, you saved yourself as well. God works in serendipitous ways. You have lived a serendipitous life. You went to a party under your sister's name, found your husband, which got you to America, which got you to major corporations, which gives you HR intel on how to run and build a business, Homeland Security, which gives you unbelievable insight to the right and wrong of how to do things.
yeah,
trying
literally.
to trying to save your son by taking him to something that will be impactful to him, and instead it's impactful to you.
Mhm.
Um, do you find the serendipity throughout your life ironic, or just you're so accustomed to it?
It looks like every time that I try to do something because of somebody else, it's like a gift for me somehow. But if I look for things for me, it doesn't happen. It doesn't. It doesn't. It's like in my business, I was like, when I started my business, I struggled so much at the beginning because I was like, oh, I need money, I need clients, I need this for me. I want to have this card, I want to do it. When everything shifted to my clients, I want to have a client that is gonna make so much money, it's gonna be so free, gonna be able to provide their husband, their kids, they're gonna be able to do all this. That's when I got my first client. And I noticed that when I change my focus and just on them is when I receive the blessings and the gratitude.
Yeah, when we're doing it for others, and I think you can relate to this, even from being a public speaker. When we go on stage with the mentality of, oh, what are they going to think of me? What am I going to say? Am I going to miss what's in my speech? Am I wearing the right clothes for this audience? You get so nervous. But when you focus on, am I going to be impactful to this audience? Yeah, you're still a little nervous because you want to deliver the impact, but it's a different energy because now you're there to serve others. And I think you found that when you're focusing on your client or what you can help them with, the blessings open up to you tenfold. I know from poverty, I lived in the streets of the United States myself. I didn't come quite from the impoverishment that you did, but I know what it's like to be homeless and you know, selling blood for gas money and doing it, what it takes. What was it like when you made your first, not only 100,000, because that's a huge milestone that all of us in business, we all seem to want that six-figure income, but more than that, we want our freedom. You wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. You wanted to be able to give back to your kids in a way that money couldn't buy. So
Mhm.
what was it like when you first combined those two? And then what was it like going to a million? Because I know you've hit that mark.
Wow. I can tell you that when I got my first 100K, I couldn't believe it because the moment that I remember I had my first client was $7,000. That was a company in Washington, D.C. And we connect and I served them. I did a training and it was so amazing. It was for me, it was huge money. It was like, oh
Hmm.
my God, you paid me $7,000 to me, just one client. Well, you have to work for a company that I was working for whole month for 7,000 and just get one client 7,000. It was unbelievable. And then when I feel like oh my God, I can't believe I make 100K. I cannot believe it. But at the end of the day, it was like, but it's not a lot of money. It is not a lot of money. And but when I see that in my coaching group and when I talk to them, I feel the blessing. It feels so amazing just to reach the mark. But also it was the moment that I had to feel serious about my business, that it was not a hobby anymore. This has to work and it has to be a serious. So that's when I increased my team. So I got, instead of having two BAs, now I have seven. So instead of just having myself doing the coaching, I have two coaches right now. I have two trainings. So how I can improve this so I can get more people and help more people get their life and pay them for the bills, because it's amazing just to see, my BAs, what they can do with the money that I pay them. Well, the company pays them. But that was just so amazing. And then when I hit the million, I couldn't believe it.
What was it like? I know the United States military doesn't get paid huge dollars. Uh, Even if you're a career military person like your husband, I know from firsthand experience watching my family, you don't get a lot. My stepson was actually over in Iraq for a couple years,
Mhm.
and when he when he came back, they gave him 2 weeks of quote unquote debriefing therapy, and then sent him on his way. My daughter was in the Navy, didn't get the benefits and help that she should have for her service. So, what was it like for your husband, who basically brought you over and said, "Go for it," and then to see the vast arc that your life took? What was it like for him?
For him, oh my God, it's still a challenge because he's still competing with me. It's like, but I make this week this amount because when we share a week, okay, oh my God, I just made this weekend 150 or 200. And he was like, wow, I made this. I said, we are not competing here, honey. We are not competing here. I'm doing this for all of us. So it's basically share with your partner, with your other half, that what you're doing is for us. It's not for just me, because in his mind, especially the military, is like they want marriage is about providing, and if
Mhm.
they are providing, but then they feel like the wife is making more, they're not gonna feel like providers, right? But at this moment, even though that have made $1 million, in my business, I literally still make him pay for my nails, manicure, for my hair. I let him pay me for my dinner because you have to do all those little things. But basically, it's like, yes, this is a blessing. This is what we can do together, to buy we bought our next home a few months ago. It's beautiful. Now we're planning to buy another one in the mountains, and we are planning on those things together. But he's still like, he trust me, Daryl. It's like he feels like it's not good enough what he's making. But I told him what you make has made me where I am right now. So thank you.
Yeah, I think part of that is the male ego, and part of that is the military ego. Like, it's ingrained in many of us that we are, still the hunter-gatherers, and the wife is who we're hunting and gathering for. And when our wife not only exceeds it but blows it out of the water, it's an ego check that we have to stand back and go, "Thank you," instead of being jealous of it, or kind of wounded ego. You really have to step in and go, "Man, I am so proud of her." And anytime I'm only speaking from my personal experience, when I ever see my wife when she's excelling, I'm her biggest cheerleader. And I'm because for her to step into who she is and stuff just makes my heart grow. So surviving 23 years in marriage with all you've been through, I would imagine that your husband has that same mentality. Biggest cheerleader, just thrilled to watch you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and everything I can say that yes, we've been working together in so many things, and I built my business pretty much by myself. But he has been, if it wasn't he supporting next to me, like, come on, Candy, you can do it. Sometimes I didn't have no sales for the whole month, and I had to pay my team. I had to use his income. Honestly, that's true. I was literally, honey, I gotta use your income. I need to pay my team. I didn't make any sales. So those little things, and I'm super grateful that it happened. And I'm just grateful for everything he has been giving me. But I feel like something that is really important. I believe that is gonna help your audience, whoever is listening to this message, is that everything is possible as long as you laser focus on the things that you want.
What did it take from you to go from that Tony Robbins moment to building your empire? I know
So,
laser focus, but what was the arc of time?
so basically you have, this is what I call the 6 Ps.
Mhm.
Uh, you have to remove yourself out of the equation to be able to serve and add value to others. So the moment that I'm pretending that everything is good, the pretender, the other one is the perfectionist that unless this video is perfect, I will not post it, or unless this ebook is not out of grammar, I won't post it. And the perfectionist, the procrastinator, no, I will do it tomorrow, next week, my team, all those things that I have to remove from my habits for myself to be able to actually be an empowered. Because one of the things that it was very painful to overcome was the people pleaser.
Mhm.
So when I was pleasing everybody else except for me, or when I realized that when I put everybody else first before God, right? Because God is living inside of us. If I'm putting God second, that's just making it wrong. That's when I realized that, oh, Jesus, now I have to put God first. And that's when I realized I had to love myself as I love God. And that's when it changes, and I overcome the people pleaser. But the last one, that was the hardest one, it was pride,
Mm.
asking for help.
Mhm. You have built an amazing life for you and your family. You've lived an incredible journey. Um, some we're all aware of, they go from nothing to everything, and they don't stay humble along the way. How did you not fall into the pitfalls of wealth and all of that brings? And you've run in some pretty fancy circles, so I'm sure you've seen it, where people just fall into the um, ego of having money. How did you manage to avoid that pitfall?
It's all about depending on the beliefs that you have about money. So if you believe abundance is money, you will welcome money on any sources. So right now, my belief is that I all welcomed all money from different sources of life, because God can give you the money in many ways. And you deserve everything. If you want to have $1 million home, why not buy it, right? If you want to have this, you can have it. the point is how you're going to use it. It's not what do you have, it's how you use it, right? So the most important part is I use everything in a gratitude, and I will never stop saying that. It's like I'm grateful for my computer, I'm grateful for my house, I'm grateful for my car to take me to work or take me to the meeting, take me to the mall. Always is like gratitude for every little thing. If I buy a purse that cost me $4,000, I would say, I'm grateful that I had the money to do this. You know what I mean? Because most people will use their credit cards, or they may get in debt or asking for a loan just to have that, and they don't even have food in home. Right? But just being in gratitude of just having it, why not? That's just a blessing, because God wants you. Everything that you ask Him is a yes. So you said, I'm not confident. Yes, you're not. You said, I'm confident. Yes, Kandy, you are. So it's gonna answer yes for everything. So it's all about looking in it in a gratitude way, and not bragging for anything, but I show people that it's possible for them too.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know.
one of the things I've admired as I've watched, your arc, you post a lot of your trips and your fun and your enjoyment in life, but you also circle it back to work involved to do this. Like, it didn't just materialize out of thin air because I prayed for it. It materialized because I worked in unison with God for it. And I do it for what I can give, not what I can gain. And in this world of coaching that you and I are both a part of, that's not always the case. You're
Mhm.
not immune to seeing those charlatans that say, buy my program and have the million tomorrow. Uh, you are a part of that says, if you do the work, I can show you the way. And there's a huge difference. So, from one coach to another, I salute you and give you great admiration for keeping it authentic and real. And even though you post the extravagant, you also balance it with posting the effort and the work. Because I've seen you go from the beach to the boardroom almost in the same video, and long hours and long days building for others to be able to learn from. So I commend you tremendously on that. So thank you for being an authentic, genuine person in this field of sharks.
Thank you, Dara. When you were speaking, something came in my mind, because I went to Colombia 2 months ago, but and then I didn't want to cancel none of my meetings. I was like, no, I'm not canceling, because I'm selling that you can work and have fun at the same time. So my brother-in-law was like, Kandy, we gotta drive 7 hours. Where we going? Oh, Jesus. Okay, so I gotta call my cell phone company, get a basically a hotspot really fast, and then I'm gonna connect my computer. And I actually did all the meetings from the car.
So you found a way.
And my clients were like, oh my God, Candy, I'm so happy. They actually got inspired. I feel like, oh my God, they're probably gonna judge me because I'm not in my studio, right? But they were like, no, Candy, I'm so happy that you're doing that. You continue doing coaching and doing the trainings while you are actually having fun with your family. So yes, it is possible. It's just you have to find a way, and this is the only way that I can share with you, is doing everything virtual.
Well, you can reach more audience. Certainly, anyone who's listened to my podcast has heard me tell my story of my father when he passed away. I was in real estate full time and had to sit at his deathbed writing a real estate contract while I watched him die. And that angered me so much that I was giving more to my clients and my business than I was to my family. And I vowed that to be never again. So, um, stepping away and having the freedom that you have to do what you're currently doing is important, I think, because a lot of us get caught up in work, 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 but we don't balance it with life, life, life. And a business coach of mine once said that really helped change my philosophy. They said, build the life you want and build your business around that, not the other way around. And
No.
I see you doing that all the time. So,
Yes, yes. I have a day that I don't get nobody allowed to block it, to put any meetings. I'm not flexible at all. That day is blocked, period. That's me time. And even if it's something that they're gonna pay me a lot of money, you gotta wait until Thursday, you gotta wait until Friday. I have my standard and people wait. So it taught me, like the people pleaser, like, oh no, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. This is my time. This is the day that I do my nails, I go to get a massage, I go to the beach, I go running, I do whatever I want to do. This is my time and nobody's gonna disturb that. So yes, you just gotta build. That's basically what I teach my clients to is like build your calendar. It's okay, what do you want? Okay, now let's block, this is the coaching calls, this is what you're gonna do. And if a company is gonna tell you gotta drive, then you're gonna show up 3 times.
mhm,
But you gotta do it virtual because you can do it from Europe, you can do it from Hawaii, you can do it from Japan, from anywhere virtually. If
mhm,
not, you're gonna be stuck in your own place driving and doing it. So
mhm.
that's what I told them.
And but again, you've modeled it, which is really the essence of teaching. You've lived what you're teaching and you've modeled it. You haven't just said, "Oh, well, here's the sunshine and rainbows." Track it yourself. So I appreciate that. What if you were to give a little girl in Colombia, your little girl, you as a little girl in Colombia, the advice of the adult you sitting in Florida, what would you tell her?
Whatever you're going through right now is gonna give you the learning that you have to get where you want. So just keep moving forward. That's what I would say, my little me. Just keep moving. It's gonna be hard, but this is teaching you to. It's like last weekend I did a 2-day virtual event. Bootcamp was private for my clients, and I got diagnosed with pneumonia last week. My doctor told me that I won't be able to speak, that I'm gonna lose my voice, that I should cancel. I didn't cancel my events. I just prayed, and even the minutes before I turned on my camera on the event, I said, God, please, I am your instrument, your tool. So give me force, give me strength. I didn't lose my voice. I didn't cough. I didn't sneeze. I was working all 2 days with no problem. It was amazing event. I got clients from that event as well. So I would say to you right now that you have to have faith. Even if somebody's gonna tell you, nah, you're gonna show them, let me show you how I'm doing it.
Yeah, and the thing about faith is it isn't always packaged the way we want it, and it isn't always pretty. I tell people all the time, you don't need courage if you're not afraid of anything, and you don't need faith if you can see the entire road. It's in that darkness where you have to take the step forward that your faith comes through. And then the safety net materializes and you're blessed beyond measure, if you do it with the right intention. So, um, yeah, I really love what you do and who you are as a person. I look forward to getting to know you even better. My wife and I will be in your area sometime. We'll have to sit down for a real coffee instead of a virtual coffee. But I'm going to ask you one last question. Since you were kind enough to come on my show, I ask it to all my guests. What does a warrior spirit or having a warrior spirit mean to Candy?
The warrior spirit means that you just have to step into 3 things in your life to be in alignment. The first one is that you have to have a clear purpose. You really have to know what is your calling, what is your purpose. The second thing, you have to have passion on what you're doing. and you have to use God's talents that is given you. So when you're in those three in alignment, when you are in alignment, it means that you are in your purpose, your passion, and your talents, and that's what a true warrior spirit is.
Oh, I love that. And I love that you've embodied it. Thank you for doing this today. And I know you're going to have many successful things coming in your future. You're just getting started. 23 years overnight success. uh, um, we'll drop some links in the video to have people be able to reach out to you and get a hold of you if they would like to connect. And just thank you again for being this bright light in a darkened world. And I appreciate what you do and who you are. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Tomas. Yeah, appreciate it.
You have a blessed day.
Thank you.